Hey guys, back at the Coulter project. Didn't get a video out this weekend because I was wrapping up another training event on the ICF pools. It went awesome. Met some amazingly cool people that are going to do big things in that space. But one of the site visits we did was her pool is the one we did the skin microplaster video on, where the Italians came in and replastered it for us. And this project's been ongoing for almost a year now, kind of a side gig for us. We poured, I'll link a video, we poured 21-foot ICF walls all at once. But right now we're getting ready to do a 5,000 square foot insulated-deck roof on this thing. We're pouring it a week from today. We're all pretty excited. We're pretty much ready. We have an inspector coming in a little bit to approve our rebar, and we got a footing to pour over here because we have a loading dock on the side of this building. And I'm just going to give you guys a walkthrough today, kind of show you what I'm doing differently than I typically do on a light deck or insul deck, because this is so high. We actually rented some real professional scaffolding, engineered stuff. I'll kind of get into the financials of renting something like that if you're thinking about a roof. But usually when we're at 10 or 12 feet, I'll just form up wood false work. We've always got a lot of wood laying around. We even have some over here you'll probably catch in the video. But at that height, I just didn't have the guts or stupidity, I guess, to do it, hillbilly style. We're doing it 100% the right way as far as the shoring goes. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to take you up top. I'm going to take you in on the scaffolding, just show you the whole thing real quick. And in a week, I'm going to shoot a ton of video on the actual pour day so I can bring that to you. Okay, guys, so on the front side of this, we have basically two big, I think they're 12 by 12 garage doors. And then over here we have one that's like 16 wide, 14 tall. That side of this building is kind of being built for a future coach. So it's kind of got its own bay. But you can see the scaffolding here, and we rented this from Dara, which is kind of all over the country. These scaffolds are 10,000 pound load rated, and they give us a drawing of layout, proper layout to keep our spans good. But anyway, so this building is 65 by 75 total. But we do break it up with this wall down the middle. It's not quite in the middle. I think we got this room I'm standing in is about 44 feet wide, and the other room's about 28, not counting all the thickness of the walls. So this is the bigger room. And if you'll notice, if you noticed at the beginning of the video on the drone video, the insul deck runs two different directions. The reason is, we can get up to about a 35, 36 foot span without incorporating post-tension cables. We are using number 6 rebar in the bottom of the beams. And to get the spans down, over here, we can span this way. But up here, we couldn't span across because it's a little over 40 feet. So you can see that it's going this way. And we broke that with a huge steel beam. This thing is I want to say it's a W33 by 118. What that means, it's 33 inches tall, and it weighs 118 pounds per foot. And it's a 40-some feet long. It was about a 6,000 pound beam. My telehandler is capable of 6,000 pounds. I rented a 1056 and set that, took about 5 minutes. We have big 1 1/4 inch bolts up there and holes that are holding that in. These pilasters were formed during the last pour. There's ICF on the other side, but we ran our 18-inch cam lock ties through and formed up. So that right there, you're seeing about 6 or 7 inches of it protruding out of the wall, but that's a 12-inch ICF wall. So this is like an 18 by 18 or 16 by 16 pilaster that holds up the steel beam, and that's what the engineer called for. But so this system, it comes with screw jacks on the legs and up at the top. And I'll kind of zoom in. And then they actually supply us with these aluminum I-beams. They're fairly lightweight, and it comes with this little, it's like a floor plate, but it's more shaped like a U. And you put the I-beams in there, and then it comes with these little C-clamps that holds it on the I-beam. So that's how everything holds together, nice and sturdy. But we can twist those up at the top for micro adjustments, basically string line level, or in this case running in a plane, because down here we're about 18 feet tall and we spin all the way over. You can kind of see that that's sloped. If you can kind of catch it, if you plane it in with the level scaffolding, you can see that it's running uphill at about a 112, a little less than a 112. So we're at 21 feet high over here. You know, so we gained about 3 feet of slope in the length of the run. Okay, so you can kind of see we're down here. I'll post a link to the video that when Joey from FabForm was here back in like December, when we were getting ready to pour this basement. This is a 10-foot deep basement that's just in the last 14 or 15 feet of the back of the building. And this insulated deck has been here for months at this point. I think we poured it back in December, and this is August, so like 8 months ago. And there's a beam right here that is basically under that mid wall. So it's got a box beam, a lintel with a bunch of rebar in it. But the guys, the engineers and the insulated people always want you to continue to shore even cured concrete. So we actually have to put shoring back down here. We could have just left it in place, but it would have been in the way. So we're waiting on our legs. They didn't send them for some reason. As soon as they get in, we will put these up. We'll run it to the ceiling and just shore it up during the pour. I'm not convinced it needs it. The concrete, when we pour it, is going to weigh somewhere between 66 and 70 pounds per square foot for the insulated deck, the beams and the slab combined. It's very rigid up there, but we don't want it to deflect or do anything that might cause a crack. It's all good. But interestingly, the roof up there is going to be home to a bunch of solar panels, and this is the battery room. This little project is going to take this amazing project, the entire house and everything that was started in, I believe, 2014, 2015. It's a 12,000-ish square foot all ICF build. I'll link the video to the tour of it that I shot a few months back. But this house uses less electricity than the average 1,500 square foot house. They had 1,100 amps of electrical roughed in to this house, and it uses less than 60 amps on a regular basis. So it's not gonna be that hard to take it to the point it's off grid with solar. It's gonna have a generator backup on this build, but this building is basically just being built as a kind of overkill, robust shop, toy box, and you know, substrate for some sustainable energy production on site, so they don't have to rely on, you know, outside sources for their electricity. Okay, guys, so I'm up on top now. I'm about 30 feet off the ground. A little puckery up here, but you know, this it feels very, very sturdy. I'm not a bit afraid of this pour. The boys came up with this. I thought we were gonna have to do a lot more shoring because this is about you know, 14 inches thick here in the beam, and we did it with just you know, like 1/2 inch OSB. We have a 2x4 on the outside, and then they came up with this because I thought we were gonna need more. They just used tie wire and a Tapcon, and they put a Tapcon in the ground and wrapped around it, and then twisted it until it was holding really nice. And it is, it's very, very rigid. And I mean, it took them, that one step probably took 2 of them, you know, 4 to 5 hours of tying, because obviously this is, you know, upwards of 230, 240 feet around. I think it's like 35 sheets of OSB that they have run around here, but it's running nice and straight and true. So the anatomy of insulated deck, like I said, it does not have top hats. So this is actually part of the main form. You don't have the top hat to glue on like you do with light deck. We are using fiberglass MST bar. This is the structural variety for any of the trolls that want to tell me that you shouldn't use it for whatever. It is engineered, and it can go actually vertical or horizontal, which is not typical of all fiberglass rebar. But I'm pretty in love with this MST. It's actually got more of a texture like rebar. It's got more of the ribs because of that band that goes around it. It's also inherently less splintery than a gator bar or light bar that's more just, you know, straight rods, and you just end up at the end of the day with just shards in your hands. This stuff is actually really slick epoxy on the outside. Number 6, 3/4 steel rebar in the bottom, sitting on these chairs in the bottom of each beam. You'll see me during the pour. I think my job is basically gonna be vibration. The plan is we're gonna have all the boys here. I'll have to be keeping them out of the camera angle, obviously. But we're gonna pour this in like 6-ish, 9-ish sections where I'm going basically 22 to 25 by 25 in the corner here. But what we're gonna do, I'll get into my mix design day of, but I'm using Zypex as a belt and suspenders thing. This roof is getting TPO after the fact, so I'm not super concerned about the finish. I want it flat and I want it consolidated. I don't need it to have a mirror shine. You know, I'm not gonna have a power trowel up here because we are putting TPO on this. It's gonna have a parapet wall starting right here, maybe 8 to 12 inches tall, staying level up here, and then nothing on the back. There'll be a gutter. So we'll have 3 sides parapeted and TPO running up and over the wall. The outside's getting brick. We'll have a metal top cap. But what we're doing with the mix design is basically we're gonna pour it very stiff. We are going to use Super P, plasticizer, water reducer, whatever you wanna call it. And that's gonna give us a nice viscous mix that is flowable for about 30 minutes, but it's not going to weaken it as if we put a bunch of water in it. And it also, the big benefit is we're gonna pour it, probably bring it out at a 3.5 slump. We'll plasticize it up to a 5.5 to 6. We'll get it placed, and within 30 minutes, that plasticizer is gone, and we're back to a 3.5, probably even a 3 at that point. It's gonna be a fairly hot day. We're starting early in the morning. We're hoping to be done placing it by 10:30 in the morning. By noon, I'm probably gonna put sprinklers on it and just do a wet cure, keep it out of the sun. It's gonna be about 96 in the afternoon, so I'm gonna try to keep it cool. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fill up this beam here and these beams up to this height with, you know, in a 25 by 25 area. Gives that stuff, starts to let the plasticizer start to dissipate, stiffen up. Then, just because I don't want to put all the pressure on the plywood right off the bat, but I'm going to fill it up, you know, 12 inches thick. Then I'm going to put the 3.5 to 4 inch cap. And the only thing we're left to do here is grade pins, guys. You're probably missing that there aren't any grade pins. We'll put grade pins in to keep it flat. And then we're going to pour the slab in that area. And while we're doing that, we'll pour the next set of beams. And I'll be vibrating down into the beams. You'll see me with a little DeWalt, battery vibrator, making sure we consolidate around those 2 3/4 rods real good. It's not impossible to fail to get concrete under them if you don't vibrate. You don't want to over vibrate, you want to vibrate just right. So anyway, that's going to be the method. I'm going to have a couple boys on one-man screeds, and then they'll just be bull floating it and Fresnoing it, and that's probably as far as we'll take the finish. Might broom it just so the adhesive sticks better on the piece, the underlayment for the TPO. That'll be a whole nother set of videos. But TPO is the cheapest way to waterproof a commercial style building like this, in my opinion. That's going to last a long time and be pretty foolproof. When you want to do a deck up here, I've got a whole method for doing that. I'll link a video to my bison pedestals that we've done in the past on TPO. Not the cheapest way to go, but if you're going insulated deck or light deck roof, I don't think cheap is your main motivator. And I think the bisons and pavers is a really slick way to achieve decking. But like I said, this is more a bed for a bunch of solar, so we're not even worried about that. They make these little plastic pedestals for any equipment that we need to have up here that sits on TPO, kind of gentle. But yeah, guys, this is what it looks like. I guess I should have shown you. This is that wall that's running down the middle of the building. That the reason we change directions is because this span is acceptable, but we cannot span that way. So we've spanned this way, and right there is that steel beam. So we basically have a lintel on there that's getting some extra rebar and right on top of that steel beam. So that's what it's gonna look like, guys. This will be nice and flat. We'll probably start building the parapet as soon as we get this poured. That'll be the next thing, and getting the TPO roof on this. The scaffolds will need to remain in place for like 3 weeks, maybe a little more, which the kicker on that is, I guess I told you we'd talk money. They rent that amount of scaffolding, which you saw in there is an absolute ton of scaffolding. That amount of scaffolding will cost you about $8,000 per month to rent. Because you have to leave it in place for like 3 weeks, assuming you hustle, get it up and get it poured, you're going to be over 1 month, but you shouldn't be over 2. So this 5,000 foot roof is going to have about $16,000 in rental It's going to have about $40,000 in insulated-deck. Then it's going to have about $10,000 in steel rebar and MST. And then it's going to have about 110 yards. We're ordering 120 because we also have a retaining wall to pour. But 110 yards of that is going in this floor, which is, you know, probably about $16,000 in our market. So what is that all in? About 66 grand plus labor. They always get a good deal with us on that. So normal market price, depending on how high up you are and, you know, sketchy it is, you know, the labor to pour, probably minimum of $2 a square foot up to, you know, $5, depending on the market you're in. It's kind of all over the board. The labor to set this stuff is sort of similar. It is all over the board, but it's probably at least $5 a square foot just to set it. Then all the rebar tying and everything else. It could be, it's a pricey roof, but none of the steel truss options were significantly cheaper. I mean, none of them were half. I mean, they were 65% of the price, but I mean, you could land a helicopter up here, guys. I mean, it is a completely structural building. It's very quiet, safe. And again, that's what these clients value, is something that's going to outlast them, outlast their kids, outlast everything. And this will do that. So anyway, just wanted to hit you guys with a video, progress, kind of a walk around, talk around. We will be pouring this a week from today on Tuesday, I think today's the 15th, so probably like the 22nd. I'll get a video up on the pour as quick as I can. And then we'll keep doing some update videos on this as we progress. Like I said, we won't be able to do much for about 3 weeks until we can start pulling the scaffolding down safely. But once we do that, electrical, drywall, garage doors, windows, we got a really cool window that's going in by Quaker. So we'll do little videos from here on out, and I will talk to you guys next time.